Hey, it's Virginia from Write Clinic, and welcome to the Medical Writing Uncut podcast. Today we have a very special guest. We have Mirko. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thanks, Virginia. Nice to be here.
Thank you. It's really lovely to have you here. So I wanted to ask, what do you do and how did you get started?
So in my current role, I work for Gilead Sciences in a UK and Ireland market access role. So the way it works is it's generally split into two teams. There's a national team and a regional team. I'm part of the national team. And what we do is we make sure that all the new products that we have are getting reimbursed within the UK and Ireland. So looking after processes like going through NICE, which is the HTA authority in England and Wales, and making sure that we get a positive reimbursement decision for all our products that we push through these processes. And yeah, this is also like where sort of my background comes from. You know, I've worked in health economics for a good little while now. Coming from consulting originally, I started first when I moved to the UK about 5-6 years ago by now. I was working at a consultancy, sort of like doing like hardcore modeling, economic modeling, building cost effectiveness models in Excel, a bit of R here and there. And that's sort of the skill set that I then brought to Gilead as well, sort of like being the expert when it comes to economic modeling, which plays a huge part especially in the UK and Ireland, to make sure that new medicines, once they come to the market, are bringing a good value for money, which is something that is valued quite highly. Other countries don't do it as much. You know, there's other reimbursement systems like Germany, for example, where it's not so much about the cost effectiveness, but more about the clinical value that some of these products bring. So yeah, that's what I currently do, working for Gilead in market access.
Awesome. And we had a chat just before this, and you were saying how you were doing medical writing before in Germany. So how did you move from medical writing into kind of health economics models?
Yeah, no, great question. I think so. It all started out for me working in Germany. I got my first job there, working for another consultancy. So I was working for IQVIA in Munich and doing sort of similar things to what I'm doing now, but more focused on the medical writing, like you said. So I was working on the AMNOG dossiers, which is like the local submission dossier that you have to submit to the GBA in Germany. And it's these massive documents, can be like thousands of pages long with all the documentation of the clinical trials. You write up how they were conducted, about details about the patient, characteristics, like, what the clinical value of the product is. So I was doing that for a couple of years, starting out in like 2016, and thinking back to it now, like back then, all of this was done by hand. So it was all manual writing, not as you might expect it to be today with like AI supported writing, as I'm sure many of the agency will do it now. So it was very much like you type it all up, submit it to GBA, and then sort of hope for the best. But yeah, that's where my medical background, or my background in medical writing, comes from. Now I don't do medical writing as much anymore. I mean, I'm reviewing medical writing that other people will do. So we work together a lot with agencies, and they'll submit a first draft, and then I'm just the annoying person, writing all the comments and criticizing people for like minor spelling mistakes. No, but I what I like to make sure is just whenever I review medical writing is that there's a good flow, that there's a convincing story. Obviously, with medical writing for like HTA submissions, you mainly got to be like technical. You can't be too narratively driven. But you do want to make sure that people, when they're reading your submission document, they can follow the logic. There's structure to it. And to be honest, a lot of the structure is also being provided by sort of the flow of how these submission dossiers are structured. Your you're not creating a document from scratch. They all have templates that you sort of need to follow. So that provides some structure as well. But yeah, that's my background in medical writing.
Awesome. So you provide constructive feedback to make sure that submissions are more successful.
Yes, yeah, no, exactly. And that's one side of it, of course. Like I mentioned before, the other big part of it is the economic modeling piece, which that's all about how do you put together your cost effectiveness model to show that the treatment you're trying to bring through to get reimbursement for has good value for money and is a good use of NHS resources effectively. Because the way NHS England thinks about the NICE, which is the HTA authority, how they think about things is they only got so much money. There's like a limited budget for all medicines, let's say. And whenever they say yes to a certain drug, they will always, it's always implied that you displace something else, right? So if you're giving money to drug A, there might not be enough money to give that money to drug B, let's say. So that's the way they think about it. And yeah, you need to kind of like bring it all together. And especially like with the economic modeling piece, which can at times get quite complex. You do sort of need to think about how do you communicate that. And that's again where like the medical writing comes in and making sure that even if you've got a very complex technical cost effectiveness model, how do you make sure that people can actually follow and understand what you're doing, and how do you communicate that that value to them?
I love that. And so how did you get into health economics, and what kind of skills did you need to learn, and how did you learn them?
Yeah, no. So it was a bit of a journey for me, I think. So I started studying. So my bachelor was in just straight business administration, and then during my bachelor's degree, I was going to an event which was tailored to inform students about like the options, what sort of master programs were out there. And one of the things that I came across was this new master programs that were just setting up, which was there was actually the first, I was part of the first year that then did that program, which was health economics and healthcare management. So it was brand new master's program. And that was very much focused on like all the technical stuff, like how do healthcare systems operate? Like how does health insurance work? How does microeconomics work with a focus and emphasis on healthcare and medical products? That degree also covered a bit of economic modeling as well. So that very much like set me up for like a specific niche. So it was always very clear with that degree, I would like sort of find a job, either working for pharma, a hospital, or an insurance company. Those were sort of like the big three players you would go to. And then after that degree, I was just looking for a job. Initially, my focus was always like I wanted to work for a hospital. But then I did a couple of those interview processes where I was like applying for hospital, sort of like hospital manager, hospital like associate director roles to kind of like basically manage the finances of the hospitals in Germany. And doing these interviews, I just realized that's horrible. That's not for me, because so much of it was driven by like just cutting costs and making sure like the interview process itself was tailored to finding out if I was the right person to be able to like let go of people. And like, so how would you handle those conversations if you had to let go, staff members? How would you handle those difficult conversations? Which then put me off of that entirely. I was just thinking, okay, I need to try something else. So yeah, that's what led me then to explore consulting. And that's what I got first, an internship with IQVIA in Munich. And that's, yeah, the rest is history from there.
Really interesting. I love that you kind of assess the situation before deciding what was right for you. And I think some people kind of just go into job interviews like, well, I'm going to take the job, whatever I have to do. And I think it's, there's a lot of grace to backing out of something once you learn more about it as well, no matter how much effort it took to get there, or what you thought about, or what you thought the job was about before you learn more about it.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting to hear. So hopefully people have a much easier time to learn some of the skills that you spent so much time and effort learning over the years, as you have a YouTube channel about it. So do you want to talk about what you do on your YouTube channel?
Of course. No, thank you. Thanks, Virginia. I mean, yes, the YouTube channel, that's like a little, I mean, I say a little, it's not really a little. It's a big passion project for me. It's something that I've started over a year ago now, I think a year and a half. So what I do on my YouTube channel is I create content all focused around health economics, which is sort of my background, cost effectiveness modeling. How do you build models in Excel? I try to touch on a bit of programming as well. So like how do you do coding in R for survival analyses, all of these sort of very standard approaches you would leverage and do as a health economist. And I was just trying to share my knowledge. That's where I started. I wanted to create a resource where people could go to and learn about health economics and the pharmaceutical industry, because I think the pharmaceutical industry in general is so closed off and people always find it a bit mysterious. They might have like a certain perception, from what they hear about, like reading like the big headline news, which is, I think, at least in my perception, people always think, oh, big evil pharma, they're all just profit driven. But I think there's also a very different side to that once you start digging a bit deeper and exploring the actual reasons behind why some of these new medicines are priced on first glance so highly. But if you then realize that, developing new medicines cost upwards of a couple of billions of dollars, and, a lot of these drugs actually fail. So your upfront investment is incredibly high and then you're not getting any reward out of it. I think that I'm just trying to make a very dubious and mysterious industry a little bit more transparent for people who are interested in it. And it's very much focused on like my speciality, which is health economics and consulting as well, because that's what I did for several years as part of my job. So I just wanted to share that knowledge and hopefully help people who want to go down a similar path, or at least just explore, options for what might be out there for them.
I love that. Thank you so much for creating a channel to demystify pharma and health economics.
That's the goal, isn't it?
Yeah, I love Mirko's channel. That's actually how I found him. And I just wanted to share his great work with you because it's definitely worth looking into. His videos are beautiful and a lot of effort has gone into creating them and making them easy to digest because they're very complex topics. And so very much appreciate that. And I learned a lot from his videos. And also he's got a podcast as well. And so he's able to talk to people in high places to ask them challenging questions sometimes, but also understand more about what they're doing and their goals, which is very inspiring. So thank you so much for all the work that you do.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. It's great fun. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it, right? Especially the podcast thing for me is just, I thought, I do have this network of existing connections in the industry, in the pharma industry, which is like, it is, to be honest, it's a very narrow circle and you don't really get access to a lot of these people easily. So I thought I might as well just leverage that connection and just bring it to a broader audience, because I think a lot of these people have so many good things to learn from, and just what better way than to do that and communicate that via a podcast.
Yeah, I love that. And I think you're building such a great collection of videos that are going to be enjoyed for many years to come. So what's next on the horizon for you? Who are you trying to connect with, or what are you planning to do in future?
Oh, yeah. So what am I trying to do in the future? I mean, again, I want to grow like a community on YouTube. That's my like primary, social platform, if you want to call it that. To reach out and basically connect all health economists or people working in pharma, everyone keen to work in pharma. So like, I'm thinking about young professionals, people who are just like entering the job market, maybe people who are even like doing their bachelor's or master's degree still in a related field, doesn't even necessarily need to be health economics, can be something related to that. I find that our industry is so diverse in terms of the background people are bringing to the field. Like you've got, pharmacists like yourself, being a big part of the industry. You've got people who come from a more like maths background, statisticians. You've got people with a background in biology. You've got so many varied experiences, and that's also something that I really enjoy about the life science industry. Is just it brings them everyone together. So what's up for me next? I mean, I think I would just want to create a place where it's easier for people in the life science industry to come together and to connect, because sure, we've got places like LinkedIn, and everyone does that, of course, but I feel like it's also very limited, the amount of connection you can build through LinkedIn. So one thing I'm working on currently actually is to sort of start a Discord server, which is just I don't know, it's a platform that I'm exploring at the moment to create a place where you can have more structured conversations about certain things, and also a platform for me to share some of the resources that I've created through my YouTube videos. So like I do cost effectiveness modeling, like I said, and I do these tutorials where I show you how to build a Markov model or a partition level survival model, and then I share the associated Excel files under like either in a link in the video description. But I wanted to have one place where I can like have it all together, easily accessible. And the idea is to have that Discord channel or that Discord server where you can have it all in one place, and also connect with other people in the industry, maybe do something about like job opportunities. I'm thinking about like doing some automation in there that will automatically pull from certain websites, the most recent job vacancies, so that people can find that. Basically just helping people help others. Because one thing, and that's the last thing I'm going to say to that point, one thing I've realized is that, yeah, sure, I can put out all these videos and that's great, but there's only so many videos I can produce at a time. Like it takes me quite a while. There's lots of editing, like you've said, that goes into it. So I'm thinking, how can I enable others in the HUR, pharma community to help others, like for their benefit. So that's really the core idea of the Discord server, to connect people and help them help others.
I love that. So I look forward to you creating that. And you've already started building your community, so around YouTube, which is amazing. So well done. And just want to encourage you to keep going. And hopefully people who are watching or listening will check out your channel. So I'll leave links to everything down below in the video description, so you can check out Mirko's stuff, and also follow him on LinkedIn as well. His posts are awesome. So do keep up to date with what Mirko is doing. And thank you so much for your time today.
No, thanks, Virginia. I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much to the audience for watching or listening today, and we'll see you at the next episode. Bye.